A lot of people wonder what a Melee Autonomy sponsorship is, so I figured that one video to kind of explain our entire history and our philosophies of sponsorship would really kind of clarify a lot of questions. So if anybody is wondering what we exactly do, we just link them this video on YouTube. Knock on wood. Hopefully it goes well. So lo and behold, we did pick up Duck recently. But we do have, storied history of, really good players that were on the Melee Omni team. For example, we picked up Mango as our first ever player. And keep in mind, Melee Omni was, just, a team of figureheads that want to propel the Smash community forward. And, player sponsorships and inviting them to our team was kind of secondary. And in the early days, even now, we don't really funnel in much money. And so in the early days, Mango got, I would like to say like $250 to $300 from Scar a month, and this came out of Scar's pocket. And Scar paid Mango, and $300, sounds laughable, but back in 2013, that was probably the highest. He was probably the highest paid player on a team at that point, where I think CT and VGBC, the two other teams, VG Bootcamp, were probably paying a couple $100s to their players. I think it was probably $100 was the going rate for like a Mew King or Hungry Box at that time, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. I could be wrong. Chibo could put me on blast later. And so Scar wanted to help Mango out because, back in those days, Mango, I think, was... I'm not sure if he had the kid yet or what was going on exactly. I think Scar wanted to help him out and help him stay afloat. So that's why we brought him on the team. Scar acted like a player manager. So if evil people like Triforce kind of came in to say like, we want to sponsor you for EMP, Scar knows better and says like, hey, like, well, what are you going to offer? Like, can you do this? And Scar basically acted like the smart man that protected Mango from awful people. And additionally, Prague also played a large role with our early sponsor with Mango. And basically, through Prague's networks, Prague introduced Mango and Scar to the Cloud9 managers and leadership. And one of the big things about Prague as a valuable asset, even though he's like kind of less about this role, is that Prague actually was like the guy behind the scenes that would connect everybody to everybody. So chances are, like a lot of those early sponsorships, not even just with Mango, they probably had some influence from Prague, who had connections to everybody, and that's where one thing that Prague was greatly ahead of everybody else in the Smash community was he understood the power of networking with other communities. So he was one of the big proponents of the FGC. He knew a lot of the league people before everybody else, and he connected people. So nonetheless, Prague. Connected Mango, and I think in like within 26 hours, maybe it was shorter, like Mango gets signed onto Cloud9. I think Scar is able to negotiate a good rate. And at this time, even before that Cloud9 deal, I think Scar was trying to convince like AJ from Evil Geniuses, who was the team manager at that time, to try to pick up a Smash player. And at that time, AJ wasn't really interested in Melee. AJ, if you guys know him, he's a really good guy. Is the guy that you see commonly with PPMD at events when he kind of comes around. So we got Mango his first sponsorship there, and we're really happy. And I think our philosophy from there was, hey, like we don't have the budget of a real team of like a Cloud9 or a TSM, but at the very least, what we can do, I mean, what our strengths are is that we do have the power of our networks, and we do know a lot of people in the esports industry, and we do know what they're looking for, and that's how we will function. We'll work as a bridge to them. So later on, we're a bunch of homies. Jokingly, we get called West Coasted on me because most of our people are from the West Coast. If you look at Scar, Toph, myself, Mango, who was on the team, Cactor is now on the West Coast. We're just a lot of friends. We enjoy hanging out with each other, and so naturally, like our next pickup was PewFat. Who we believed that had a lot of potential. They were really great people, great kids. They have great teams, and they're like rising stars. They have great personalities, and they're very moldable. And so we brought them on the team. We paid them lightly. I think it was like 100. We paid them like 100 a month, and by then we had like some income. I think basically all our Melee Autonomy income went to PewFat. I think we paid them like 100. So our goal, was to get them to think, um, how can they influence the community aside from being a top player? And it was just to awaken their paradigms on what it means to be an ambassador for the game and to be a representative of esports. And I think a lot of top players, that culture is shifting, but they think that just because they place well or place decent, that they deserve a sponsor, where sponsorships and getting on a team is a lot more than that. So Prague, and Scar once again played a heavy role in influencing Pew Pew to say like, hey, like you have to be a leader in the community, and so that encouraged Pew Pew to start streaming. And if you remember the early days, like Pew Pew had a banging stream before he got it less active. He started Smash Lounge, and he built up himself a resume of things that that could make him marketable. We helped their social media presence, and we gave them advice on what they should be doing week after week after week, so that that they could stand out above everybody else who's not like a god level player, who's not like a Mango or an Armada who's winning these events, but the like top 15 to top 20 players. We try to make them stand out as much as they could by doing all the other things right. And shortly after, we helped them out with the resumes. We helped them figure out what are good things that they should be doing and what's a good contract. And eventually, Kevin PPU got signed to CLG. And that was really exciting for us. We were really happy with that. And sometime after we got, we just continued to give SFAT advice. We tried to support them as much as we could. Monetarily speaking, Melee and Army didn't make much, so we couldn't help with flights and large salary, unfortunately, but we could help out with everything else. And we eventually got SFAT on a team. And then that was our second and third projects. And then shortly after, SCJ was actually kind of a funny one. I was at Alex 19's place, and Johnny was, Johnny and I talked back and forth, quite often. We're good friends. We went to UCLA together. He was a little bit younger than me. But he was on Alex 19's stream, and he always had, or we were both at Alex 19's place, and then Johnny was kind of drunk, and he was like, oh, like, you should sponsor me. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, and I think Johnny's always had a large respect for Melee Autonomy. He likes Scar, and he likes our brand, and he likes, just being a homie. So I was like, okay, we'll do it. And then I ended up just saying like, okay, like, I'll give you $100 a month, I'll buy you a flight out of pocket every so often, and let's do this. And I think that was like January earlier this year, where I said like, okay, like we want to get you on a legitimate team as soon as you can. And we wanted to keep his personality intact, although we had to kind of filter a little bit of his language. So we just encouraged him to stream more, to stream regularly, to kind of create content, and to just just do his best at events. And there were a couple other teams that were kind of interested in him, but we felt that the pay rate was a little bit small. And if Johnny said what he was going to do and continue to improve over the year, which is what he did, we really did believe that he could get a better contract with the team. So we played kind of a role. We just kind of like lightly supported him. I bought a ticket to CEO for him, and just try to just support him in whatever way possible. Like if he had a question about our team, we answered, and just gave him advice to tell him like what he deserves as a fair rate to be on a team, and to ask the right questions before signing on to a team. And lo and behold, he gets Tempo Storm. And I also have to thank Raging Cherry for making a really strong push towards Johnny as a player after Westball's left. So thanks to Raging Cherry for pushing for Johnny as well. So that was our fourth sponsor. And now we're on our fifth one, Duck. And after Johnny left, we didn't have a player for Eva, after Eva. We just kind of said like, okay, like who is a player that we love, hanging out with, who we consider a homie, that we love talking to and interacting with, that will do well. And so we kind of had our eyes set on Duck even before Evo, and he got 9th. And I said on Commentator's Curse, if Duck gets the right bracket, he can get 9th or 7th if something's fall into place. Strangely enough, he loses to SUJ, but so we end up picking up Duck. He performed really well, and our kind of pre-negotiation was like, hey, like Duck, I know that you're going to get good teams. If no team meets your demand, like I'm more than happy to, put you in the right spot by giving you a month-to-month contract where we're going to make an active effort to really make sure that you can get a good team. And so that's where we're at right now. And we're making suggestions to Duck to what he can do to be more marketable and kind of push for him to get a really good sponsor. We picked Duck also because, he's team with Mango. He knows Juggle Guy, and, he's an all-around great guy, great Samus player. And, we love having him. So there's like kind of slight biases, like we probably wouldn't pick up like an Ice Climbers because it doesn't fit the Melee Omni brand. Unfortunately, but we love picking up people that are friends and we just want to like help them out, and so it happens that they're top players. So hopefully that gives light to what Melee Omni does. We do provide some light money here and there. Most of it's kind of out of pocket, although Melee Omni kind of makes a little bit more money now through YouTube and Twitch. Not a lot, but it's kind of there, and we just continue to hope that we can funnel our networks and resources so that we get more players sponsored while they get like a little bit of benefit on the side while they're kind of waiting for a team.